I'm asleep. It's the middle of the night, and then, for no reason, I wake up. I check my phone. 3:33 a.m. Something pulls me out of bed. I don't decide to get up, I just do. I walk to the bathroom. I stand in front of the mirror, and I start counting. 4, 5, 6, 7. I need to tell you what hundreds of people have reported seeing, and I need to tell you what happened to me. Because I looked in a mirror at 3:33 a.m., and I stopped counting at 6. This video is about why. Before we go any further, I want to be honest with you. I spent 3 months investigating this phenomenon. I read over 400 accounts. I talked to a neurologist. I traced this thing back to its first appearance online, and at the end of all that research, at the end of everything I'm about to show you, I still cannot fully explain what I experienced. There are 3 things I'm going to tell you in this video that I have never said out loud before. The first involves what I found when I traced this back to its origin. The second involves a detail that every single witness account shares, one that the internet somehow missed. And the third is personal. Tonight we're going to do 3 things. We're going to look at the accounts, what people are seeing and how consistent they are. We're going to examine what science says and where science runs out of answers. And we're going to look at what this figure actually is, where it comes from, what it might want. And I promise you, stay until the end, because the last thing I say in this video, I genuinely debated cutting it. My first post appeared in November 2021, a throwaway Reddit account, r/paranormal. 4,200 people read it before it was deleted 48 hours later. I don't know how to explain this without sounding insane. I woke up at 3:33, not 3:30, not 3:34, 3:33 exactly. This happened 3 nights in a row. On the 3rd night, I don't know what made me do it. I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. I counted to 10. At second 8, there was a man standing behind me, tall, still, just far enough back that I couldn't see his face. I spun around. Nothing. I looked back at the mirror. He was gone. I have not slept properly since. That was 6 weeks ago. That post was the spark. Within days, replies came. Then new threads. Then accounts from people who had experienced the same thing months earlier, but hadn't reported it because they assumed it was a dream. Now, here is the detail everyone missed, the one I mentioned at the start. It's not in any of the viral posts, but when I read all 400 accounts back to back, it was there in every single one. I spent 3 weeks building a database, every account, every detail, looking for variance, inconsistency, anything that would suggest people were just copying each other's stories. Instead, I found this. He is not looking at the mirror. He is looking at the back of your head. 400 people, different continents, different ages. No coordinated hoax could keep that consistent. Either this is the strangest collective delusion in internet history, or something is there. I want to give you the honest, skeptical case, because the psychology here is genuinely interesting, and it gets us most of the way to an answer, just not all the way. There is a phenomenon called hypnopompic hallucination. It happens in the window between sleep and waking. The brain misfires. It produces presences, figures at the edge of a room, a weight on the chest, a voice calling your name. Studies suggest up to 12% of people experience this regularly. Under normal circumstances, this explains everything. Woke up suddenly, brain still half asleep, produced a figure, done. But here is the problem. And I want you to think about this carefully, because this is where the skeptical explanation breaks down. Hypnopompic hallucinations happen in bed, in the dark, in the heavy fog of near sleep. These accounts describe people who got up, walked across the house, turned on a bathroom light, stood in front of a mirror, one of the most visually demanding, attention-focusing things you can do, and then experienced the vision. That is not a sleep hallucination. That is something else. A cognitive neurologist I spoke with offered a second framework, pareidolia under stress. The brain, when anxious, finds faces and figures in ambiguous shapes, a shadow, a towel on a hook, the angle of light on a wall. You've read about the man. You're standing at a mirror at 3:33 a.m. Your brain is primed to find him. So it does. Plausible, rational, and I would have accepted it if not for one thing. 3 of the 400 accounts I collected were from people who had never heard of this phenomenon. They had no Reddit, no TikTok. They didn't know about the mirror. They didn't know about the count. They just woke up at 3:33, and something made them go look. No priming, no suggestion, no reason to expect anything, and they all described the same man. Let's talk about the figure himself. Across every account detailed enough to include a description, the same portrait emerges. Folklorists who study emerging internet mythology call this an emergent urban cryptid, a figure that crystallizes around collective anxiety. And the watcher, the thing always just behind you that turns away before you can confirm it, is one of the oldest archetypes in human experience. Carl Jung wrote about the shadow self, the part of the psyche we refuse to face directly. It appears at the edge of perception, in mirrors, in dreams, in the dark threshold between sleep and morning. Maybe he is a symbol. Maybe he is a projection. Maybe he is something our species has always sensed and simply given a new address. A mirror at 3:33 when the house is quiet. Or maybe, and I want you to sit with this, maybe the reason he only appears in the mirror is because the mirror is not showing you what is behind you. It is showing you what is always behind you. And the only reason you don't see it in daylight is because you are never still enough, never quiet enough, never alone enough at the right hour. I said at the start of this video that I stopped counting at 6. I've been sitting on that for 4 months, debating whether to say it out loud. I was 6 weeks into this research. I'd read every account. I knew about the mirror, the count, the man. So what I'm about to tell you, you are completely entitled to dismiss. I woke up in February. My phone said 3:33. I got up. I don't know why. I just did. I walked to the bathroom. I stood in front of the mirror. I started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I stopped at 6. Not because I heard something. Not because I saw something. Not because anything moved in that mirror. I stopped because I had the absolute physical certainty that if I counted to 7, something would be there. I turned off the light. I went back to bed. I have not gone back to that mirror after midnight since. I don't know what that means. I don't know if I'm a coward, a skeptic, or just someone who made a choice in the dark that I can't fully explain in the daylight. But I'll tell you what I believe. I believe something is in those 9 seconds. I believe the people who reported this saw something real, whatever real means in a bathroom at 3:33 in the morning. Here's what we know for certain. People are waking at 3:33, standing in front of mirrors, and something, whether inside the mind or outside it, is appearing in that reflection. The psychology explains some of it. The folklore contextualizes the rest, but neither closes the case. What I keep coming back to is this: the fact that we don't have an explanation is not the same as the fact that there's nothing to explain. If you've experienced this, if you've woken at 3:33, if you've stood at a mirror, if you've counted, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, would you count to 10? Or would you stop at 6? Because I have read through thousands of comments on videos like this, and I can tell you, the people who say they'd count all the way to 10, almost none of them have actually tried it. I'm your host. You've been watching Darkness Frequency. Stay curious. Stay skeptical.